Hi everyone, welcome back to Sip and Photoshop. We are now at part 3 where we're going to go through how to make some pretty cool social media graphics. So go ahead and open up the final project. As we can see here, this is the first part and oh that's okay. I thought I did 2 types of text, but we will go through and do that today anyway. So this one's actually quite important because I can show you the artboards. So see how you can resize that there? These are 2 separate artboards. So if you want a new one, you can click on the artboard name and see up the top here how it comes up with a few settings, and you can see these plus buttons. Let's say we also wanted to do a Facebook post for this one. We're going to click the plus button. Going to make a new artboard in the exact same dimensions as the one that you clicked on. If you make presets, they're going to come up here. So I've already got a Facebook post preset. I'm going to click that and see how that's just resized that for me. That's awesome. And then see how it's called artboard 1 over here. We're just going to rename that perhaps to Facebook. Facebook. And then that's ready to go, and we'll come back to these later. Just make sure you switch back over to your move tool and you're all good to go. So this is our final product. I actually haven't looked at this project in a few weeks, so I apologize if it doesn't turn out exactly the same. But let's get started. So we're going to drag in our image and place it to start off with. That looks pretty good, so we'll go enter. I'm just going to make a folder so that this is nice and neat. But be aware that when you make folders and you've got multiple artboards, the folder's going to come up the top like you just saw. Just drag it down to the artboard that you're working on at the moment. Okay, so we've got our image. Now, something that I always do with my social media images before I do anything is sort of just fix up the colors and make sure it suits the look that you're going for. So the easiest way to do this is go up to image, go auto color, auto contrast, auto tone. That would just make it look a little less edited if you get an image like this one where there's an obvious filter on it. And then if you want to make any more changes, you can go up to filter, camera, raw filter. And this will open an interface which is pretty much the same as Lightroom, or the Lumetri color scopes if you've used them in Premiere Pro, where you can just like go in and do some pretty specific edits in there. But we're not going to do that today, so I'm just going to undo that. Okay, now I'm going to lock this so that we don't accidentally move it while we do that. So you can see it says lock here. I'm just going to lock moving it. So now if I click on that, I cannot move it. Next thing we're going to do is add in some text. So the first little trick I want to show you is how to actually make text go along a path. So the first one we'll do is like a circle. So you're going to go down and select the shape that you want. You're going to place it on your canvas like so. Then you're going to select your text tool and hover. While this is selected, hover on the outside, and you might not be able to see, so I'll go in really close. See how it gets a little squiggly line when we do that? That's what we want. We're going to click, and this has now created some text around the edge, which is super big because we just did our freedom text really big before. Okay, so we're just going to write sale, I guess. Sale. Write it a few times. And if you'd like to change where this starts, just go to the little mouse underneath the text tool and you'll see that these little arrows come up, and you're just going to, oh, I've done this wrong. You're just going to drag this to where you'd like it to start, and we can see that starts there, and then the end will be the other way. Beautiful. Now what I usually do is just go back to the shape and delete it. So that's done. You can just play around with the text now, but that's like my little secret for how to make cool text. And you can also do this using the pen tool. So let's say you wanted to do it like, I don't know, against his side. Let's do that. So we're gonna just draw a line like so. We're gonna go back to our text tool, and again we see that squiggly line, so we're just gonna click that. We're gonna write our text in, and then we can use this one to drag that to where we would like the text to start. And then we're gonna delete the shape that we made, and that's done. That's now sitting nicely along the curve of his side. So you can do that with a shape, or you can make your own path, but as long as you remember that you just have to see that little squiggly line, then you'll be fine. And one last little tip, if you'd like to make like a custom text box, you can again make a shape, click your pen tool, and then click inside, and that's now going to make text inside there. So let's say I write sail a bunch of times in here. Okay, hopefully that worked. Oh, it did. Cool. See how that's made a circle? So that's pretty cool. There's 3 ways that you can customize your text already. And then we're going to do one last way. So this way is combining some of the selection techniques that we did before, and I'm going to show you how to turn things into paragraphs as well. So get the, not the pen tool, sorry, the text tool, click to make a new text layer, and then type in the text you want. So for this one, I think I just wrote sail over and over. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on our layer, we're going to go up to type, and we're going to convert to paragraph text. What this does is it allows us to actually make a text box. So I'm going to drag this all the way to the bottom and all the way to the border and all the way to the other side. So this is going to define the edges of where our text can go, and it won't scale the text up or down when you move it. So that means that you will need to actually come over to your character tab to change your text. So let's make this nice and big and nice and spaced out. And then we are just going to hit copy and paste. That looks pretty good. And we're just going to adjust how much space is between the lines before we proceed. And we're just going to fill up the whole screen with text. Awesome. Now it's a bit funny spaced at the bottom, so I'm just going to move this down a little bit so it's even at the top and bottom. And then all we're going to do is we're going to click on this one. We're going to go down to our quick select. Again, we're going to go select subject. This is going to outline him for us, and that looks pretty good to me. It doesn't need to be too specific because you're just cutting out the text. Then we're going to click on our text layer. We're going to apply the layer mask. Again, this has automatically done the opposite of what we need. So we're going to click on the layer mask and go Control I. And there you have it. The text is now surrounding our dude here. But in the other image, it was kind of blended in a bit differently. That was just me going to the blend modes, and I think overlay was what I did. And then that's blended in. And that one is complete. So that's some quick ways to make some pretty nifty looking social media posts without having to do anything overly hard. Now, I did stick to just text because that's my personal style, but if you guys would like some more tutorials about how to work with shapes and how to actually incorporate some graphics, I'm more than happy to do another video on that. What we're going to do to finish up is I'm going to show you how you can quickly resize things for different social media platforms. So we're going to turn back on our layers. And what we're going to do is we're going to go Control J and copy our folder here, and we're going to drag it on to the other artboard. And your artboards have dark grey, so you can tell where they start and finish. See how this has now come up on the Facebook one? But it's not quite centered properly. I mean, it looks alright. But what you can do is just click on the folder, go Control T. Make sure you unlock your layer first. Control T. This is important because if you don't do this, you'll start moving individual bits within your folder. So you always need to make sure you select your folder and then go Control T before you start resizing stuff. And then you can just scale this down so that it fits in your Facebook post. Click enter, and that's done. Now let's do the same thing for our story. We're going to go Control J, we're going to drag this up to the story. See, I've forgotten and now I'm moving stuff around. So just go Control Z. Make sure your folder's selected, go Control T. I'm going to line this up with the corner and scale this up and make it a bit bigger. Beautiful. And then there you have it. You have 3 different size images of the same thing that you can quickly export without having to make new projects and spend heaps of time copying stuff over. So to actually export these, just make sure that you turn off the ones that you don't want to export and then just go File Save As. Because if all of these are turned on, it's going to save it how it looks right now. And that brings us to the end of our sip and Photoshop. So I hope that you guys found that useful. I hope that you were able to follow along and that you learned something new today. I apologize if I talk or move fast. You can pause the video and go back and rewatch things. Please, if you made something today and you're proud of it, or even if you're not, it's fine. Share it with us. We'd love to see what you guys came up with, especially for these double exposures. I'd love to see you guys do some of your own or show us what sort of social media stuff you were able to do with those cool text effects. Thank you again. It's been lovely having you guys, and we'll see you online.